Hello and welcome to Frost Over the World. Later in the programme, on the day of the first US presidential debate, we look at who's likely to win the war of words. Plus, actress Juliette Binoche is here, and top bank boss Victor Blank, who saved a bank, is here to talk about the credit crunch. But first to one of the great icons of the Cold War, a man who admits his own story reads like a fairy tale. In November 1989, Václav Havel, a dissident playwright, led a 10-day velvet revolution that overturned communism in Czechoslovakia. The man, who spent 5 years earlier in prison, suddenly was propelled into political office. For the next 13 years, Václav Havel served as president of first Czechoslovakia and then the Czech Republic. Now retired, President Havel has returned to his day job from 20 years ago. The day job is writing, and he's in London for his new play, Leaving, and his new book at Well, To the Castle and Back. Mr. President, Mr. Havel, it's a great honor to have you with us. The book, the play, you are in incredibly vigorous form at the moment. What do you feel about the situation in Eastern Europe at the moment and in Russia? Does that bring back memories of before 1989 and the Velvet Revolution? Does it bring back memories of the old style Russia or not?
Já se domnívám, že
I think that things Russia is doing are very alarming and disturbing. It looks like some of Russia's ancient imperial ambitions are waking up.
Samozřejmě, že ten režim je nepoměrně sofistikovanější.
Of course, the regime is much more sophisticated than the communist regime.
Ale o to je možná nebezpečnější.
But that is why it is more dangerous.
Jakoby se to Rusko jakoby
somehow it looks like Russia was not aware of the fact where it starts and where it ends for long centuries. And although it is the biggest country in the world, there is always present that strange fear of those small neighbors. Us who used to live under the rule of communism, we perceive it in a very sensitive way, because we used to belong in that satellite belt for a long time.
So yes, people are very, very concerned about the situation at the moment. Would you say we're on the verge of a new Cold War?
Já bych to zatím studenou válkou
I would not call it a Cold War so far.
Hodně záleží na tom, jak
but it is very important how the West and Euro-Atlantic civilizations would react to it.
Pakliže bude to tolerovat a bude
if they tolerate it and deal with Russia as
kdo zasluhuje zvláštní chování.
If it was somebody who deserves special treatment,
bude spíš to napětí prohlubovat.
It would increase the tension.
A mohlo by to i v tu studenou válku vyústit.
And it can end up as a Cold War.
You say in your book here, you say that you looked death in the face a couple of times. When was that?
No bylo to jednak ve vězení.
First it was in the prison,
později,
and second it was later.
Měl jsem potíže.
When I had some trouble with my lungs.
Půl plic.
Half of my lung is gone.
A na to navazující další
and there are other related problems.
Takže skutečně se kolem mě ta smrt vznášela.
Death was hovering around me.
Začalo to všechno ve vězení.
It all started at the prison.
První zápal plic nebyl prostě
My first pneumonia was not simply treated properly.
What was the most difficult, important decision you made in your life so far?
Těžko říct.
It is hard to say.
Možná to bylo, když jsem přijal první prezidentskou
I accepted the first presidential candidacy.
O politiku zajímal celý život. Celý život jsem se
I was interested in politics for my whole life, and I was talking about politics my whole life. But I was never practicing politician with political office.
Měl jsem asi 24 hodin na to, abych se rozhodl.
I was given 24 hours to decide if I would accept the candidacy. I accepted though, and
samozřejmě to na 20 let změnilo můj život.
Changed my life for the next 20 years.
To nejdůležitější rozhodnutí.
Maybe this was the most important decision in my life.
That's fascinating. Has the European Union been a success in terms of the Czech Republic? Is the Czech Republic benefiting from membership in the way that you hoped?
Já myslím, že ano.
I think that it has.
Nesmírně důležité.
I see it as a very important. It was not obvious that the European Union would accept those former communist countries. It was important that NATO accepted new members. It gave the feeling of safe space to the European Union, and it was keener to expand. It means that the United States was some kind of an engine for NATO and indirectly contributed to this expansion of European Union. Of course, for the small country in the middle of Europe, it is vital to be part of an integrated Europe.
You're here for many reasons, and a lot of people are thrilled to see you here, but one of them is your play, Leaving. This play is the story, it tells the story of, in fact, someone who leaves politics and the pressures that come upon him when he leaves politics, what it's like to leave politics, hence Leaving. To what extent is it autobiographical? Everyone's fascinated by that. To what extent is the sufferings of the central characters sufferings that you had when you left politics?
Já jsem tu hru začal psát už před
20 play 20 years ago, a long time before
budu zastávat
becoming president and subsequently leaving that office. The theme of the rule who loses his position and whose world is falling apart fascinated me for different reasons which I do not want to dig into right now. It fascinated me for a long time before as a common broad theme. If I use some experience in this place from my 20 years when I was not working on this play, these were really minor things that were not the essence of the theme.
What about the subject of the United States? I think you admire the United States a lot, don't you? What is it you admire about the United States?
Spojené státy jsou především
The United States is very colorful country, and it is hard to characterize it using a simple formula. I like the atmosphere. I like to be there. People are somehow more relaxed there. They love their country. The civic society is very advanced there. And those are very interesting things. In the same time, there are lots of bad things as there anywhere else. You can have 1001 comments about the United States, foreign policy or anything else. What I do not like is when the United States States is blamed for something which is a global, what is a part of the contemporary civilization. And the United States is blamed that this is its fault. It is blamed for double meanings of the civilization. Spiritual origins of the modern civilization are in Europe, not in America.
And in fact, there's this proposed missile deployment in Poland and the Czech Republic. Do you think that the West and America are right to do that, or do you think it is provoking Russia?
I don't think so, that it is some kind of provocation or it is aimed against Russia. It is part of an American defense system and it was developed throughout many years with 4 presidents, Republicans and Democrats. I respect it as a defense system, and I feel when Americans ask for help from their ally, it is very appropriate to offer the help. We are obliged to help each other by signing the NATO treaty. It does not have to be only in the form of united powers. It can be bilateral form of cooperation. The United States did a lot for our country in our history. Czechoslovakia would not be there without the United States. And when it needs something from us, I think it is very appropriate to pay it back to our allies. It is reflected in better safety of our country as well. I mean, that American defense system with its deployment points present there.
That's fascinating, that's fascinating. It's a justified payback, is what you're saying. Well, it's been a great joy to have you with us. Thank you for the book, thank you for the play, and although people miss you, no doubt, in politics, we're delighted you're very much back in the literary world, and thank you again.
Thank you. I don't want to go back to politics. I will comment about some things all the time. I will be active in the human rights field, but as a profession, I want to go back to the theatre.
Thank you very much indeed. We look forward to seeing you again, I hope, soon. Thank you. In a minute, one of the giants of global banking, the rescuer, Sir Victor Blank, on how the credit crisis affects all of us. That's after this break.